Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, the Ohio State teammates, arriving here at the Combine this morning. They worked out yesterday with the linebacker and DB group, and my goodness, it's always fun when, like, the best of the best actually delivers as the best, as Field Yates now joins us here. What a blast it was. I'm not sure, like, in all my memory of being a Combine nerd who loves to watch this stuff, I can think of a performance more dominant than what we saw out of Sonny Styles. What stood out to you, Field?
Well, it starts with David Bailey from Texas Tech, a guy who probably, like Sonny Styles, could have said, I'm good, I'm not going to participate. His draft stock is solidified. I think David Bailey reinforced yesterday. He's going somewhere between pick 2 and pick 4. 4.50 40-yard dash, second fastest amongst all of the edge rushers. The production last year was more consistent than any edge in class. The on-field workout was definitely good enough, and with teams from 2 to 4 in the Jets, Cardinals, and Titans that definitely need pass rush help, wouldn't surprise me if that is his range. 3 picks, no more than that.
Yeah, one of the best things about a guy like Sonny Styles is this. You knew he was going to rip up the Combine. It was just going to be, what level was he going to actually go to? Well, obviously, he burst through a whole bunch of levels at 6'5 plus and 240 plus, and jumping 43.5 inches. That's just alien-like. It's Avatar-like, and it's something that you expect out of a young man like this. But here's the thing that I'm hearing about this guy. Okay, it's his skills on the football field. We can all see that. It's what he brings to the table from a football and personal character standpoint. This guy is as clean as it comes. He is a force multiplier in every sense of the word, and that's exactly what you want out of the green dot guy, the guy that the coaches talk to, the guy who's at the command and control center of the defense. Everyone puts eyes on him, and he is a leader. He's the tip of the spear at Ohio State, and you can't find any flaws with him. So when you have a guy like this who also plays like he does, who's an absolute hammer at 6'5", you sit there and you go, how high could this guy go? And as a general manager, you're just sitting there thinking, how can I get in a position to get some of that? Just to get him on my football team. Because there are no chinks in the armor. There's none.
It was so interesting, too. He was interviewing with Stacey Dales after this incredible performance, and it was just like he expected that all this was going to happen. Yeah. He was almost just very average talking about it, even though he was busting through all these records. By the way, that vertical, the highest by a linebacker in 20 years at the Combine. Let's talk about Notre Dame's Jeremiyah Love as we dive into the running back scenarios in this draft. He's going to work out tomorrow, expected to be a show. Mel Kiper's latest mock has him landing in Kansas City with the 9th pick. He spoke to the media this morning. I asked him what current running back he compares to.
I would say my best comparison would be Alvin Kamara. I would say him. He's the most complete back that I've seen. Can do a little bit of everything. Can make plays when you need him to. So definitely him.
What's the most underrated part of your game?
I would say my blocking. A lot of people say I'm an average blocker or maybe a little bit above average, but I ain't never been beaten in a rush. I done put everybody on their butt or and push them back. I ain't never had to let up a sack, so definitely blocking.
Jeremiyah, you mentioned that you met with the Chiefs. What would it be like to play in that offense with Patrick Mahomes?
It would mean everything to be paired with a great quarterback like him. I feel like he's one of the best quarterbacks to come through the game. He still got a lot to prove, but, hey, it's Patrick Mahomes. I love to play with him.
I mean, listen, there's also some familiarity. That area of the country he's very familiar with. And, Lewis, you heard him talking about playing with Mahomes. Our Jordan Renan, who is our Giants reporter, reporting that the Giants are interested in him at number 5, among other running backs. How high do you see this guy going?
I could definitely see him going there. Look, see, the difference that Jeremiyah brings is this. I know we typically attach the stigma to running backs, saying, like, if they're going to be drafted in the first round, let alone in the top 10, they've got to be, like, special. Well, he is that, and the reason why is because the kind of plays like you're seeing right now, the plus 20-yard, plus 15-yard explosives, and he can do it not just in the run game, but he can do it in the pass game as well. I'll tell you what, talking about comparisons, I had a running back coach who I've known for a long time, who I played with at one time. I was talking to him in the hotel lobby the other day, and he goes, Lewis, you know who he reminds me of? I'm not saying he's this guy, but the ease with which he runs the football reminds me of Eric Dickerson.
Wow.
It's just the way he flows through the line of scrimmage. He goes, now look, this kid is a better pass receiver than what Eric was. But Eric Dickerson now, you're talking football royalty.
Yeah.
But he said he makes it look that easy to me. And he was like, don't say that I told you that. I'm not going to say any names.
Said it, but just not
going to say any names.
It's all
but
good.
That's lofty praise.
Yeah, sure it is. And there are many superpowers for Jeremiyah Love. I think the two that most consistently show up on tape and I think make him the best running back in this class by miles. First of all, the passing game superpower that you just referenced, Lewis, is that if you put an 8 in front of Jeremiyah Love's 4 on his uniform, or at least in the olden days when wide receivers actually wore numbers in the 80s, he could play slot wide receiver for you right now. And then the explosive plays. Go check a stat from this past year. He basically led all FBS running backs in the major explosive play categories. He had back-to-back seasons with a 90-plus yard run. Very instinctive in the passing game. I don't think the hard part about Jeremiyah Love in this year's draft class is the evaluation.
Yeah.
He's clearly the best running back, one of the best players. It just comes down to a much more important philosophical question that I think dictates whether he goes as high as number 3 overall or maybe slides to the Chiefs at number 9.
All right, I'll get to that question. When you're thinking about taking the running back in the top 10 or the top half of the first round, is he a special player? Yes, we all agree.
Yeah.
He's a complete player, too, so you're not even just talking about running between the tackles. You're talking about the pass catching, the blocking, all of that. Great. Is he in a position to succeed? When we talk about the difference between, say, an Ashton Genty last year or Jahmyr Gibbs, who had so much success early on in Detroit, some of that is due to the difference between the players, but a lot of it is Detroit had an awesome offensive line. The Raiders had one of the worst run-blocking offensive lines in the entire league. So if you're a team considering them, I think first you have to ask, is our offensive line in position to take a running back? Kansas City, I would say, is. And then the other thing you have to consider, of course, is the opportunity cost. Do we have another need at a high-value position like edge, receiver, and does that need align with a player available there who we have enough conviction in compared to Love? I think, for example, if you're the Chiefs and the top three edge rushers are there, it would be very hard for me to pass on them. But if they're gone, and you're comparing Jeremiyah Love to the next tier, then you feel better about taking the running back.
For the next couple of weeks, once free agency begins, teams like the Commanders and the Saints and others ahead of the Chiefs are going to have an opportunity to fill notable holes on their roster. And if they do, I might have a different feeling on them. As of this moment, based off what we know right now, the only team in the top 10 that I would feel comfortable taking Jeremiyah Love, independent of who else is available, is Kansas City. Because when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, you're a contender every single year. That's the rule. So if it's not the Chiefs, based off what we know right now with the rosters, for me, it'd be an awfully hard card to put on the table and push in, even acknowledging that right now the number 3 player on my overall big board is Jeremiyah Love. I think it's important for us to have a reminder of what took place last year with the Raiders and all the sentiments we had about this team making a big leap under Pete Carroll. You have to eat your vegetables sometimes on that 53-man roster building process.
Interesting. I mean, Field, you mentioned the explosive runs that Jeremiyah Love is capable of, and he's kind of known for in a lot of ways. The Chiefs only had 3 20-yard rushes last season, the fewest in the NFL. So this guy would be an instant impact maker on that offense if it ends up happening. You also wonder if, like, the rest of the NFL is like, can we somehow prevent this guy from going to the Chiefs? Could that happen? I don't know. All right, we got more coming your way here from Indy as our coverage here at the Scouting Combine continues ahead. Carnell Tate declared himself the best receiver in this draft class. Stick around as the Ohio State standout tells us why he's so elite. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back on ESPN.